About 18 months ago, I reported the crime of destroying the Valencia orange industry to the Australian Federal Police. They said that my evidence at that time was not strong enough. Now that the high-profile Nick Xenophon has confirmed the crime, I will be giving a variation of his recent press release to them. I call for someone on social media to estimate whether the damages are more or less than $2.3 billion. For 2 years after seeing this item, in a letter to Senator Xenophon in January 2012, Parliamentary Secretary for Health and Ageing, the Honourable Catherine King, stated that orange juice concentrate containing any level of the fungicide would not be permitted to be imported into Australia after April 2012. At the Senate inquiry into citrus, I saw so little sign of constructive action that I wrote Whodunit, the last nail in the coffin of the Citrus Family Farm. It is available at libraries in Griffith and Wagga. It can be bought by contacting curryman@hotmail.com. The Whodunit question relates to who moved away from the chance of choosing zero tolerance of carbendazim in April 2012. I found this report from a German pesticide action network. Independent literature shows carbendazim is a very dangerous chemical toxin, causing malformations in the fetus at very low doses, and is not known if a safe level exists. Carbendazim is capable of disrupting chromosome unfolding, can cause infertility and cancer. I know that the culprits have to be found. The CEO of FSANZ made certain comments at the inquiry are in my Whodunit book. One of them is, Mr McCutcheon also made the admission that an Australian consumer buying orange juice labelled as Australian made could be drinking a product that contains up to 70 or 80% of Brazilian concentrate. This, which you see on the screen, is shown in large letters, is what you will find in very small print on the juice which you should not be drinking. Sometimes these very un-Australian words have a kangaroo associated with them. What are we coming to? That this clearly highlights just how pathetic our food labelling laws are, Nick Xenophon said. Australian made should mean just that. Senator Xenophon also hit out at FSANZ for not adequately publicising this backflip until questioned by the committee, admitting it only published the information in a fact sheet on its website. Nick also said, FSANZ may try and bury these facts, but they certainly can't bury this issue. Barnaby Joyce describes the transition from 100% of Australian ownership of canning of stone fruits and of orange juice manufacture in 1970 to basically 100% multinational for stone fruits and about 80% of multinationals for orange juice now as normal commercial movements. 2 paragraphs down, my assessment is that the actions of ACCC are helping to put the multinationals into a state of full control. One of my books, which has not yet been published, is The Failure of the Australian Establishment. The cover has not yet been designed, but this gives an indication of what I feel the strength of the Australian establishment. The establishment would not communicate, but a breakthrough came when the ACCC fined a small Australian juice manufacturer for what I consider to be a relatively trivial infringement which completely ignored the issues which had caused so much damage to the community, which continued after the opportunity for common sense in April 2012 was lost. I was looking for a chink in the armour of the establishment, and I believe that it has been found. On the 16th of March 2015, Nick Xenophon made a press release, Food Bowl to Dust Bowl, which was featured in the Castlemaine Independent on the 4th of June. It included, the government was going to ban carbendazim from being imported in orange juice concentrate, but backflipped on this decision. Nick's article described how Castlemaine, the sunraysia, is also on a downward path, dropping down, as we're saying here, the whole system is dying, BC to FG and so on. Now if you want to remember that, just realise BC, before Christ, FG, fruit growers. This is what's happening to us. Not since that time, but this is what's happening. This is for you to remember it. Now, Nick's sentence is a big breakthrough. The first part of the sentence, the government was going to ban carbendazim from being imported in juice concentrate, confirms that this was the government's intention. So we want the Australian Federal Police to realise that it wasn't just me who was saying that it was the government intention to review zero tolerance at that time. It didn't happen, and so therefore this is a lost opportunity. The second part of the sentence, the final words, but the government backflipped on its decision, opens up a number of options with enormous consequences. It also brings into stark relief the considerations which led to my book, Multinationals Gobbling Up Australian Agriculture. This film will be posted to Facebook and to YouTube. I look for constructive interaction, so I've assigned numbers to important issues. 1. Has Australian government lost control to multinationals? My book, shown, Multinationals Gobbling Up Australian Agriculture, shows by means of diagrams a transition from 1970 to now for both stone fruits and citrus. 2. If yes, if multinationals have taken over, was it government's plan to relinquish the control? 3. In April 2012, was it the multinational Lion Nathan who influenced the ban on the introduction of zero tolerance of imported impurities? 4. Was it a backflip initiated by government, which was suggested by Nick Xenophon's recent release, or the backflip of an intention because they either did not care or else could not influence the outcome even if they wanted to? When I can acceptably describe the crime committed to Australian Federal Police, I then need help in assigning a monetary value for the losses to the community, not just the Valencia orange farmers and their families. If we presume that at point B everything just stayed as normal, this ever-increasing triangle represents devastation to farms and farmers. In making a presentation to the AFP, I not only have to be presenting the logic of the crime that really means killing off this part of our industry, but they also want me to assign values to it as well. So this is what we want whoever is out there looking at this, who is an accountant, we want to be able to make an assessment of how much in dollars, billions of dollars, and I'm guessing it's probably 2 to 3 billion when we look at not only what happens to farmers but also to the communities. The Australian Federal Police have limited resources, so they will critically review our calculated value compared to the values presented by others. the AFP have a prioritisation model to consider. Will $2 or $3 billion be enough for them to feel that the project is worth processing?